Hello everyone and welcome back to F1 2017 Career Mode. Today we have the Bahrain Grand Prix coming off a solid finish back in the Chinese Grand Prix. We've had a solid first two races so far, and we come right to the end of our qualifying attempt here in Bahrain. We're actually going to be coming on to our first lap of the last round. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton currently on the pole for the moment, and obviously we're not going to be able to challenge him for the pole. But we have had solid pace throughout the first two rounds. We've basically been anywhere from 7th through 9th, I would say. So hopefully we can kind of continue that and back it up in this final round here in qualifying as we come through towards the end of the first sector now with a decent time right now. We're not even a 10th off of Hamilton's time, but that's certainly going to expand by the time we get to the end of this lap, unfortunately. Our first night race of the season, but now as we come towards the end of our qualifying lap into the last corner, Hamilton still holds the pole and he's likely going to get the pole. But out of the last corner, a little bit of oversteer on the exit you've seen there, but we'll come to the line, get the DRS, and we go P4 for the moment. Only 8/10 off. I don't expect that to stick. Now as we retire from the session, we'll see exactly where we go. Gotta love the AI pulling off into the grass there. Alright, you see it there. We qualify P6 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Hamilton, Bottas a 2, Mercedes 1-2, Ferrari 3-4, and then we got Ricciardo 5th.
Well, the big question for me is whether or not we're going to see the cars able to follow each other closely enough to overtake, especially through the fast sections here. Of course, we've got DRS, and that will help on the straights. But it's still no good if you're coming off the previous corner too slowly or too far behind.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Williams, Perez, Verstappen, Ocon, and Nico Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen, and Palmer, Van Dorn, Sainz, Lance Stroll, and Pascal Wehrlein. Ericsson and Fernando Alonso starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright, you see Fernando Alonso with a grid place penalty, and here's our strategy. I mean, I don't know how much we're going to stick to that strategy. I never really stick to it. I usually change it. But we are ready to race in the Bahrain Grand Prix now. Right behind Kimi Raikkonen in the Ferrari, we have 5 red lights, and we are ready to go green here in Bahrain. Hamilton leads them off. Raikkonen with a pretty solid run down here on the front straightaway goes to the right of Bottas. Hamilton might lose the lead to Vettel. Now he's go 4 wide in front of us for 2nd or 3rd place there. Getting very dicey. A little bit of contact. We managed to get around it with the Force India and the Red Bull getting into it. And we actually stay P6 for the moment. We did a solid job right there, staying out of trouble now as we fall in right behind Daniel Ricciardo and the Red Bull. Now what we need to try to do is just have the pace to get by him and see what we can do from there. I think we have enough pace right now to pass Ricciardo, but we're going to have to try and make it happen within these first couple laps. We might actually, if we get a run here, we could do it in this next corner. I don't know if we're close enough at the moment. It depends what it looks like on the entrance there. Not going to make the move this time. The car is a little bit loose, but it's not really a big deal. We do get a bit of a run on Ricciardo down the straightaway. He gets a little bit defensive, moves to the left a bit. He might go a little wide. We have some oversteer, but it actually helps us. We get a run on the left side with a lot of contact with Ricciardo there. I don't know if I moved into him or he came into me, but that doesn't change the fact that we just about had an incident right there, and he does regain the position back. Just about turned into a big disaster right there as we have a run. He's going to get defensive again. We're going to go up the left side of him now into the last corner. We kind of let him clear us so we can get a better run down the front straightaway. A little bit of contact again, but we have a big run up the right side of his car, and we will easily clear Ricciardo going into turn 1 here. So now we take over P5, and Raikkonen is already long gone, as well as the other 3 cars ahead of him, which would be his teammate Vettel, Bottas, and Lewis Hamilton up there. I don't think we're going to have the pace to catch the Ferraris. I think we're just probably a 5th place car right now. I worked on the setup quite a bit. This is the setup I ran in my league race in Nitro League, and that's actually where I also got my first win in that league. So setup's not terrible, but it certainly has room for improvement. You see, Ricardo is not falling back too much behind us right now. He's still at least staying with us. So I mean, any moment we make a mistake, he could still pounce and easily gain the position back. Now we have put a little bit of a gap between us. It's a very fun racetrack. I'm not a huge fan of driving it though. It's pretty challenging at times. You'll know that if you've raced here, but just try to make the most out of it. Usually I finish around in a top tier car. I'm only like 3rd place. I mean, I've never actually won a Grand Prix in Bahrain. Hopefully one day that will happen. Now you see Ricardo kind of the same distance between himself and I, but now we come to lap 8. We have already had some drivers pit. Lewis Hamilton, the leader, has come in. He's put on the soft tire. Bottas currently leads us. He's yet to pit. He's on super soft as well as us. So we're going to be pitting next lap. We're not going to come in this lap. We can probably do another lap on these tires. But you see Bottas on the track map just went through Sector 1 going into the right-hander right now. He is long gone. And we are not going to battle them, obviously. I mean, that would just be silly to even think we would have a chance at battling them. He's 13 seconds ahead now. Hopefully we'll get a top tier car one day. I was thinking for F1 2018, almost linking it to the 2017 career mode, to where we basically, it's the same thing, just different games. So I might actually step it up to go to a better team if possible. We'll see about that though. I'm not 100% sure on that. So basically, if we're still on Williams at the end of the 2017 career mode, and I don't have an offer from a better team, we're going to stay with Williams for the 2018 career mode. But at the same time, they're going to be so trash in that game, I think. So that's going to be really unfortunate, but we'll see what happens. But now you see we do want a strategy change. We could pit this lap. You see the left side, 70%, 71%, but we're going to stay at one more lap. I think I had enough on the tires to make it another lap, and we do. We are currently leading as everyone's basically pitted now as we come through the last corner on lap 9, getting ready to make our first pit stop of the race. Hopefully it should only be a 2 pit stop race. They wanted 3, but I think that I can save the tires enough to make it 2. You see, I mean, we're already been passed by Bottas and Hamilton. Bottas actually out front of Hamilton by like half a second right now, not much. But Vettel has passed us, and now we got some more drivers coming through. We got Ricardo and Raikkonen, who will also pass us. So Raikkonen has been overtook by Ricardo through the pit strategy, and Verstappen now overtakes us. So looks like maybe staying out this long on the super soft tire was a mistake. We lost way more time. We lost about 2 spots there to Ricardo and Verstappen. So we certainly should not have done that. Should have just stuck with the same strategy the other guys were doing, but maybe in the end it will pay off a bit. We'll have to find out. But we're going to hope for the best in that situation. We know we have the speed to contend with the Red Bulls, and we should be able to easily run down Verstappen if our pace is the same as it was before pit stops. Man, I love that left-hander there. You can make some really stupid moves into that corner. I've seen that many times in online racing. And maybe it's also a good corner if you're mad at someone to just kind of get rid of them. Looks like Verstappen not really losing time to us at this moment. 1.6 second gap between himself and I. We got Sergio Perez behind us, and we really need to pick up the pace here. I was hoping we would actually pick up the pace a little bit faster, but it was a 1.6 second gap. the last sector, and now as we come to the line, it is now a 1.7 second gap. So we've actually lost time, and through this whole portion of the race, nothing happened. We just drove around by ourselves. Nothing went wrong for anyone. We were just kind of in an island of our own as Verstappen still up ahead as we now come to do our second pit stop on lap 16 now. We haven't gained any time, so we're going to come in and put some new fresh tires on. You see Ricardo pulls out on the medium tire. We're going to come in and put the medium tire on ourselves. A solid pit stop by the team there. You see Perez, I believe that's behind me, pitting. It is. And that was a 2.3 second pit stop, and we're off. Currently P12 right behind our teammate Lance Stroll. We're going to easily catch him and pass him. Magnussen right behind us. Certainly this race hasn't gone as good as I was expecting. The first, I would say, 10 laps were pretty solid for us, and we were doing a good job, and all of a sudden, after the next pit stop, or the first pit stop, our car has certainly fallen off, and we've kind of become like an 8th to 9th place car right now. So you see we do have some engine wear there, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't really seem to be performance impacting, and now we're certainly closing the gap on our teammate Lance Stroll up there. Man, he really needs to improve his performance in this career mode if we want to ever do anything with the constructors. He is on the soft tire, so we're not going to gain on him a lot. It's a 1.4 second gap right now. 1.4 is what Magnussen, so we're right in the middle between them. Now into the last corner, we will hit 12 laps to go at the line here. You see Stroll will stay out for another lap. I'm not sure how long he's going to stay out. He's probably going to be pitting before lap 20, I would assume. But now we have cycled through it back into the top 10. We sit P9. Magnussen now into the top 10 as well. We got some cars exiting pit road right in front of us. We got Ocon up there, and he's just in front of Lance Stroll. That's certainly, he probably did help us out by holding Lance Stroll up a little bit right there. But now we come to lap 20, and by this time Lance Stroll has made his pit stop. Ocon sits P7, Perez sits P9, and we're right in between the Force India sandwich. Just 10 laps to go. This has been a very uneventful race. I mean, you look in the top left, no one's had a DNF, which pretty surprising. We're about 3/4 into this thing, and nothing has happened. Been a very clean race. I don't think we've had a single caution either. It looks like Ocon is pulling away, which is unfortunate because, I mean, in the first stint of this race, we were beating Red Bull, and now we're losing to Force India. Certainly kind of a telltale sign that we still got work to do on the R&D side. We still need to make some improvements to this team, and we're going to have to work hard at doing that here in the future. Obviously, I mean, we're kind of right now running slightly better than what we really should be. We should be like a 10th to 12th place car in my opinion, but certainly making really good setups has helped me with that factor. We've actually been able to outrun what we have now as we sit 3 seconds behind Ocon. As we come to lap 24, we'll be 5 laps to go this time by at the line. We have not gained anything on Ocon. We have a very big gap between ourselves and Perez, so we're not really going to have to worry about anyone passing us. We've basically been, since the first pit stop of this race, we've been running by ourselves this whole time, and it looks like it's going to end that way as well. And at this point in the race, Lewis Hamilton has taken back the lead over Valtteri Bottas. You see there, I believe it was a 4-second gap between myself and Ocon, and we got 6.6 seconds between myself and Perez, so he's certainly not going to catch us. He has to gain over a second per lap to run me down at this point. Now just 5 laps to go in the Bahrain Grand Prix. This is probably going to be our worst race of the season so far, unfortunately. All right, now as we approach just 2 laps to go in this race, you see Oken has added a couple more seconds to the gap between me and himself, and Perez. Our gaps basically stayed the same, but Lewis Hamilton just running away with this victory at this point, and we're just gonna kind of hang on to P8 here in this race, which is unfortunate considering how we started. But I'm not gonna complain too much because we're in the points. I'm happy with points, but compared to how we did in Australia and China, it's kind of disappointing. Lovely. We have the turbocharger with a problem. Not a huge deal. I'm not going to be too concerned now. Valtteri Bottas is the fastest lap of the race as they have hit the white flag now here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. I believe next race will be Russia. I'm looking forward to that one as long as we don't have any problems. We did last season. We had a drive-through penalty. I remember that. Like 15 drivers had a drive-through penalty. It was so stupid. Hopefully we don't have an incident like that again. But now as we are slowly approaching the white flag ourselves, you see Lewis Hamilton the next lap at the end of the white flag. He is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix over second place. Valtteri Bottas not far behind him. But Hamilton gets a win as we still sit P8 coming towards the last half of this lap now. Hamilton just going to continue to pull away in the points. He's had a great start to the season, unlike last season when he struggled for the first half big time. And his second half was a little bit better, but he still had some problems. It was just bad luck the whole time. He had engine failures, tires that blew out. He just had so many problems, but this season he's starting off very strong, and he's certainly going to be a strong force to beat when it comes to this championship for whoever battles him. I would assume maybe Vettel or Raikkonen would be his top competitor, but we come home in P8 here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Certainly could have been better and should have been better, but I'll take points. Certainly need to work on that next time we come here next season. We need to figure out how to run better as a team if I'm still with Williams. I mean, who knows? We might actually be at a better team by then.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes then are on top today.
Alright, here is your finishing order. Obviously, us, P8, Roman Grosjean, the last guy in points. We sit 6th in the points standings, tied with Raikkonen right now. We're 48 out, Hamilton with a 37-point lead just over second place in Max Verstappen. So everybody's got work to do to catch up to him. But we got an 84-point deficit from Mercedes. We're beating Force India by 1 point, so we're doing pretty decent right now. But there's a little rivalry stats, but that'll do it for this episode. Next will be Russia, so I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of F1 2017 Career Mode. I will see you guys next time for the Russian Grand Prix. Have a good day, everybody.